The Blue Star. A long, long time ago, in time immemorial, there lived a peaceful shepherd tribe, separated from the rest of the world by steep mountains, deep canyons, and thick woods. History doesn't recall and doesn't know how many centuries ago, but one day tall and strong people in heavy armour had climbed the mountains and entered the tribe's country. The battle-scarred warriors became very fond of the country they discovered, with its gentle people, moderately warm climate, sweet water, and rich soil. Thus they decided to remain there forever. They didn't have to conquer the land, for its inhabitants knew neither wrath nor weapons of war. Instead, the conquerors took off their heavy armour and married the loveliest local girls, and placed their leader, the kind and brave Ern, at the head of the new state. They gave him unlimited royal power, to be passed on to his heirs. This was still possible in those naive ancient times. Almost 1,000 years passed since then. The descendants of the warriors became so intermixed with those of the local people through marriage, that there was no longer any obvious difference in their language or appearance. The features of the ancient knights became completely absorbed and dissolved in the looks of ethnic Ernoterans. The ancient language, nearly forgotten even by royalty, was only used in court, and only on the most special occasions, during ceremonies, or to express exalted feelings and notions. The memory of Ern the First, Ern the Great, Ern the Saint, remained immortal forever as a beautiful undying legend created by an entire people, akin to the wondrous tales created by Indians about Hiawatha, by the Finnish about Wiinamoinen, by the Russians about Vladimir the Red Sun, by the Jews about Moses, by the French about Charlemagne. It was he, the wise Ern, who taught the people of Ernotera farming, gardening, and metallurgy. He introduced them to writing and arts. He also gave them the basics of religion and law. Religion included only one prayer in a strange language, and there was only one main law: "Thou shalt not lie in Ernotera." He declared men and women equal in their rights and their duties, and he wiped out various titles and privileges on the first day of his ascent to the throne. The king himself wore only the title of the people's first servant. Ern the Great was also the one to establish the law of the crown inheritance, according to which the crown was passed on to the firstborn of the royal family, it didn't matter whether it was a son or a daughter, who were allowed to marry exclusively according to their own likes. Finally, Ern the First, who knew much about temptations, vices, and evils that ruled beyond the mountains, in the civilized countries he'd abandoned, ordered to destroy and make impassable forever the mountain path which he and his brave comrades took to climb up. Thus Ernotera blossomed splendidly under the fatherly, wise, and kind rule of the Ern dynasty, to lead an innocent, full, wonderful life without war, crime, or poverty. A few relics that used to belong to Ern the First were still kept in the ancient 1,000-year-old royal castle: his armour, his helmet, his sword, his spear, and a few mysterious words he carved with his dagger on the wall of his trophy room. None of the Ernoterans could lift the armour even an inch from the ground, or swing the sword even with both hands, or read the royal inscription. There were also 3 portraits of the king, a profile in the finest mosaic, a painting, and a marble statue. And I must say that all these 3 portraits, made with such love and great skill, were subject of unending sorrow for the people who adored their first monarch. According to these images, there was no doubt that the great, wise, just, and virtuous Ern had been exceptionally, impossibly unattractive, almost ugly, although his face had nothing mean or repulsive about it. In the meantime, the Ernoterans were always very proud of their national beauty, and forgave the first king's ill-favoured appearance only for the legendary beauty of his soul.